start by I'll first introduce myself. My name is Kristen Mothershead, and I am directed to Jamie, Susie, and Corey, and have been with Cemetery for about going into year 4 now. And I am an agency director. I have a direct AO who's Annie Davis, and I think she's on here in here right now. But I love it here, and I love this industry, and so I'm excited to help you guys get started. This is for new agents, but if you're seasoned or you just need a refresher, or maybe you've had life happen and you're coming back in and you need to kind of get direction on where you should go, this is a great place to start. And then just to introduce the people here on the screen, these are our 130s direct in the master agency. So we have Jamie and Corey, Jim Larson, and Kelly Bush and Jake Bush. So those are our 130s in the agency. And I am going to. All right, so the first thing I want to remind you as a new agent, and you may be feeling this way because I know that I did when I first started, is I just felt like super overwhelmed. I had no idea what I was doing. You have all these forms and lists and requirements and contracting paperwork, all these things coming at you, and you might feel a little bit like, what in the heck is going on? I just want to let you know or assure you that that's normal. And if you have no experience in health, that's normal. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You might feel like a fire hose is coming at you at times. It's okay. You're going to be fine. One of the things that Jamie told me when I first started, and I know that a lot of us as leaders repeat, is that you're going to make a mess and we're going to help you clean it up. Yes, this is a highly regulated industry, so that may sound a little bit weird to hear that. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things here that we can clean up for you. So instead of worrying about how to do everything perfectly, how to, knowing everything about every single product or every scenario, or wanting to know the answer to every question a client might ask you, just dive in. Dive in, both feet. You are going to make a mess. The easiest way to learn here is to learn as you go. And so that's just one thing we would like to remind everyone as we get started. Make a mess. Let us help you clean it up. Communicate what questions you have, where you're struggling, where you need help, when you need direction, and we'll be there to give it to you. So you, at this point, if you're new, you've hopefully gotten your license, you've applied to be hired by Cemetery, you've been hired, you've gotten your welcome email. It will say, welcome to Cemetery. It'll have your name. And in that is going to be a couple of different steps that you're going to want to start to check off, with the most important one being SureLC. You're going to see a step in there how to create your SureLC account and get started with your profile. You're going to go in there and do all the information that it's asking you. It's got, personal information. You're going to upload your certificates for AML, different things that you're going to make sure are completed so that we can send you hiring contracting documents, which essentially gets you producer numbers with the company so that you can start making money. So that's going to be the most important thing that you're going to want to focus on as soon as you get that welcome email. And then you'll get to take care of the other steps within that as well. The next most important is to write your first application. You may have done this already, but why do we ask you to do this? We want you to get familiar with the systems here. Remote insurance is kind of like a learning curve of its own. There are several different platforms. There's different things that you'll have to go through to write applications. And so writing your first application is going to get you familiar with the processes. It's going to give you an idea of what, your client's going to see on their end, get you familiar with the resources that we use during that process. So that should be the next thing that you're doing, writing your first app. And I'll provide a link at the end for you to see videos and kind of instructions on how to do this if you haven't done that yet. And then also just get with your hiring agent, the person that hired you, to, hey, what are next steps? How do I get my first app written on myself? And so that you can get familiar with that process. Then you're going to go into HQ and you're going to do summit training. So summit training is in HQ. It's the little mountain on the top right-hand side of your screen. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. But that you're going to walk through some great training videos. There's some resources that they're going to ask you to download. A lot of great stuff in Summit to get familiar with not just Cemetery, but what you're going to do here as an agent. And then you're going to watch Product 101 and Underwriting 101. Again, links I'll share here at the end. But this is going to get you familiar with the products. So, what's a whole life, what's term, children's insurance, like the different product offerings that we have here. And then the underwriting process is something that I train on regularly in this room, but it's a very important step of what we do as agents. You're going to learn what that process involves, and what resources you can utilize to help you underwrite your clients to find the best product. And then you're going to book a goal setting call with your hiring. Again, is also very but we like to get an idea of, what are your short-term and long-term goals here? How can we help you? What do you see yourself doing? Are there certain like bills or vacations or things that you have on your mind that you want to be able to take care of? Those are things that we can discuss during this call. Again, so that we just have an idea of, how we can help support you, guide you, and get you to reaching those. This is a call schedule. So again, you're going to see a lot of different things that you can plug into. Um, there's call schedule on HQ where you can pull up weekly calls. In GroupMe's, everyone's probably in different GroupMe chats. There's call schedules, all kinds of things, going on. But these are the ones that we really like people to prioritize. We have the SN huddle on every Monday that just ended, and highly recommend tuning into that, not just to celebrate our master agency, but to hear, whether it's from a carrier or training or someone's story that could resonate with you. That's just always great to hear. You can never kind of immerse yourself in those things enough. New agent activation, which is what we're doing now. Kelly has her master huddle. I know Jim Larson, there's several directs and leaders that have their own master huddle. So make sure you get their specific schedule. National calls on Wednesday. It's at 12:30 Eastern. It's usually an hour and a half long. And I know that seems like a huge chunk of time, but I think it's so important to tune in, not just to get updates on what's going on with the company, but you guys, again, getting yourself like immersed with our culture and our community. You're going to hear the hearts of the founders. You're going to get to meet corporate staff, get to meet leaders in the business. And the best part, I think, of this company is the people. And you won't get to experience that if you're not connecting and associating with people in these spaces. Deep Dive is great for sales, highly recommend. And the Pogue Master is on Friday. Again, just a huge agency call. Great to hear and learn from others. So right now we're in the workroom. If you're not familiar with the workroom, this is a great space to be plugged in. If you're not here, I don't know where else you should be. But if you're working, if you're dialing, whether, maybe you're onboarding or working on admin type stuff, I don't care what you're doing, but you should come join us in the workroom because this is, again, a part of our community and our culture. It's where we work together and support each other, encourage, celebrate our wins, get help with our struggles, and it's just where you should be plugging into when you're working. The hardest part of what we do is the learning curve. Again, you're going to feel like it's fire hose coming at you. Some people get through the learning curve super quick, others take a long time, like me. But the most important part is that the most important thing to remember is that you don't quit. That it's easy to quit and to make an excuse and say this isn't working for you. It's harder to get intentional with, okay, what can I do better? Where can I learn? Who do I need to go to figure this out? Because it's worth figuring out. So get through the learning curve as fast as you can. Get good at being intentional with your schedule, which again, we're going to go over kind of specifics of what these look like. And then keep focused on where you need to go, what you need to listen to and plug into to keep your belief high. Because again, it's easy to say, this isn't for me, this isn't working. There are a lot of times that I could have quit, and there are other leaders on this call listening where I'm sure they could say the same. But I know and what's possible here. I know what it's done for my family already. And I have belief that there's so much more to come. And so you've got to plug yourself in, immerse yourself to keep, that on the forefront of your mind versus everything that's not going how you want it to go. The first kind of exciting thing that we like to offer in this agency to people that are kind of moving along that learning curve line fast and writing 6 apps within their first 6 weeks is to get an SNA, Seasoned New Agent tumbler. These, we love swag here. So you can earn this by writing 6 apps within your first 6 weeks. So your first week is the date that you were welcomed to Symmetry. You got that welcome email. 6 weeks from that date, if you get 6 apps written, you're going to get this tumbler mailed to you with Seasoned New Agent and then the year. And it's something that I earned. In fact, I do have a tumbler similar to this, and my daughter took it to school today, but I carry that tumbler everywhere. It's just something really good to work towards as a new agent. So the fastest way to get moving here is to not be a secret agent, as Jamie would like to say. Don't be a secret agent. We like to share what we're doing. And although you don't have to share with your warm market or your network or post on social media, you guys, it's an amazing place to start moving your feet and to get some money in your bank account. And to start building for people who are looking for something like this, just like you were. I shared from day one on social media, and a lot of people do. And I just think it's a great way, again, to get your feet moving. Your warm market is looking for someone that they know and trust to get insurance coverage with. There are so many places that we could go to get life insurance, but let's be honest, a lot of people are kind of like not super trustworthy of a lot of people in the financial industry. And I knew I made it my mission to change that. And I know that from the moment I made my first post, I had people messaging me like, I trust you. I'm so excited that you're doing this because we need this. And we trust you to take care of us in the right way. So put yourself out there. There are a lot of different samples of what you could do or say. But most importantly, just be you. Let people know how you can help them. Take care of life insurance coverage, or if they're looking for a different opportunity, if they're looking for supplemental income, let them know what you can do for them and utilize that as a great training tool. I tell my new agents, hey, make this post. Let's see what traction you get. Come to me when you have people biting. And then we're going to walk through what the next steps are. You can walk through underwriting and getting quotes for people and getting them on the phone so that you can take care of them. Share your business card. If you don't have a business card, they're really easy to do on a program called Canva, and you can get a free account. There are templates. You can go on Etsy. Just reach out to your hiring agent. They probably wouldn't mind throwing one together for you. So just use this language, use these post samples, and create your own so that you can start getting some money in your bank and working with people that know and trust you. These are a couple more examples of how you can share with your community. So Kelly made up this, she one-upped me. I made my life insurance one. This is mine. I made it in Canva and I have a few different variations. I can share the template, which I'll do again at the end of this call. Kelly one-upped me and made this really fantastic looking one, but both of them worked really well. We shared them within groups that we're a part of on Facebook. I have like so much business that has come from my community pages. This year I've just focused on working with community and referrals and just dabbling in leads, and I've had a lot of customers from it. So share with your community what you're doing. And if you don't use social media, it doesn't have to be social media, although it's a great space and it's free, but you can put radio ads, football flyers, like sports, check with your local schools. There's always opportunities to share what you're doing and how you can help people. And these are just two examples of how you can do that. Here are some more posts about how agents are winning with our leads. So you're going to share with Warm Market if that's something you're open to. I highly recommend it. And then you're going to purchase leads that are going to help you find your clients. I really like to make sure that you know what to expect from leads. And so if you go into HQ, there is a section in HQ that has a bunch of lead resources, lead information, lead fact sheets, everything you need to know about where they came from and what you can expect. Because what I see a lot of new agents doing is coming in and buying, 20 leads and thinking that, oh, I didn't make a sale on any of these 20, and so these leads either are terrible or I'm terrible. Know what to expect. A lot of times as new agents, we're having you start on the oldest leads possible, because we want you to struggle. And that's the truth. We want you to struggle through the learning curve and figuring out the hardest questions or figuring out the answers to the hardest questions. You're going to get a lot of no's on these older leads. You're going to hear things that maybe a newer lead wouldn't say to you, but we want you to get that practice in and learn how to work the leads and not waste money on great leads when you are digging for the gold. And so these lead fact sheets will kind of give you an idea of how old those leads are, where they're coming from, and what to expect. And these are just some examples of what people have earned off our leads. Today on Huddle, we heard Susan. I'm sure she's in here. I can't see the workroom, but she made 1,700 dials last week, you guys, which is insane. She's now full-time here, but she made her first sale, and it was on an $8 lead. And I can't remember what the exact commission will be, but I think it's like over $1,000. So the leads work. Our leads are amazing, and people are winning on them all the time. This is our workroom. Again, we talked about it earlier. It's where you should be when you are plugged in, when you're working. You could be dialing, you could be working on your schedule, you could be prepping for an appointment, but the workroom is the place to be. And it's how you immerse yourself in our community. If you're not part of this community or culture, you're missing a big part of kind of what it feels like to be an agent in our agency. And this is an example of what the daily schedule looks like when Dina posts it in the GroupMe page. So you might see something a little bit different if you're in a different, master agency GroupMe, but this is just a great example of what our day-to-day schedule looks like. Our live dialers are also on this schedule, and those people are dialing leads unmuted so that you can listen and learn. So if you're a new agent, I highly recommend hopping in the workroom and listening to people call leads, take notes on what resonates with you, what language you love, just what they're doing to be successful, because that is the fastest way to get through the learning curve. I remember when I was new, I would listen to the workroom every chance that I got, whether I was doing dishes or, driving or on a walk. I recorded people that I started to become familiar with, liking their language and thinking, hey, that's something I would say. I started to record different segments of them dialing just so that I could get better faster. This is the full workroom schedule. So we have something going on again every hour, it seems like. Mondays, we're doing the new agent activation. I'll do underwriting calls. We have production help where we have top producers like Shelly. She is incredible, always sharing a wealth of knowledge and tips on how to get better with production. So make sure you are keeping your eye out for this schedule and hopping in the workroom so that you can be a part of all of these things that are happening and just get better. This is our lead system. So there are a couple of different places that you can buy leads, but as a new agent, you're going to go into the system that's called Opt. It's in HQ. There's a little waffle menu. You'll hear this little menu called a lot of different things. It's the boxes, the little tiny white boxes at the top of HQ. I've called it waffle because I heard it a couple weeks ago, and that has stuck. For the first time in 4 years, something has stuck, and it is now the waffle. So you'll go into the waffle, you'll open Opt, and in there is a leads map. This is where you're going to go to purchase mortgage protection leads. As new agents, we recommend you start at a $250 a week minimum investment. And this is something that we recommend because we know it's going to get the leads in your hands that are going to help you get through that learning curve fast. If you cannot swing $250 a week right now, then talk to your hiring agent about what is possible, because if you can't do that, then we want to help you do as much as you can, but we're also going to help talk through other ways that we can get creative. Are you going to make a warm market post? Are you going to send an email or text to friends? Because if we're not investing in 250 leads minimum a week, then we need to find other areas where we can help you win, help you get through that learning curve. But the leads map is where you're going to start. You're going to go to the state that you're licensed in, and you're going to find a couple of old leads that you can get your hands on. So $250 is where we recommend, and that's every week, you guys. We're refilling the funnel that we have to work with. And a lot of people always ask, like, okay, how long do I dial these leads, or when do I get rid of them? When do I move on? You keep the lead until you get resolution. I remember Jacob Pogue, who is, part of our leadership here in this master agency, but he told me you're going to dial until you get resolution, meaning yes or no, or they tell you to stop calling. So that's what you're going to do. Just keep them in your funnel, and we're just digging for resolution, starting with the newest leads first, and then working our way through our list. 1,000 dials is your first goal, and we have a lot of different types of resources that you can print or utilize to help you track this activity. But if you get to 1,000 dials and 30 sits, meaning 30 appointments, you're going to have found yourself through a huge chunk of that learning curve. And 1,000 dials nowadays is really easy to do with our funnel system. And that is our new CRM, but you can get in 1,000 dials in no time in a week. So, I mean, Susan did 1,700 last week, so we're just talking about 1,000. But utilize these activity trackers, not just for yourself to keep track of how much activity you've actually done, but because as hiring mentors and agents, seeing these numbers is going to help us figure out where we can help you get better. If you are, dialing 1,000 people, you've booked 30 appointments, but you've only actually sat with maybe 9 of those, then we know as mentors, okay, we have a problem with your appointment setting language and getting people to actually show up for the appointment. If you are booking 30 appointments, sitting with 30 and selling 2, then we know you have an appointment problem, like what you're saying through the appointment process, and we can help you get better. But if we have no activity to look at, no data to kind of figure out where in the process you're getting hung up, it's really hard. We have a ton of resources, a lot of scripts, a lot of different suggestions we can get. And so it's just easier for us if we have data to look at and see, okay, where do we need to help you improve the numbers, improve the ratios? So utilize some of these sheets so that you can keep track of your data and help you get better. Okay, so let's talk about what a dial means, or a sit means. A dial is a dial to the client on the phone. So you're triple dialing new leads, especially if they're super old leads or they're really cheap. The really cheap leads mean they're old leads. If they're not new, if they're old, I'm not training or coaching my agents to triple dial them. I would dial them once or twice and either leave a voicemail or follow up with a quick text. But this is where it comes into play to know your leads well. So utilize those leads fact sheets to figure out, okay, how old are these leads? Where are they coming from? So that you can kind of tweak your language or ask your hiring agent, hey, what language is best to use on this lead type? And we can direct you to the right resource for that. So dialing is actually dialing on the phone. And then if a client picks up, that's a contact. So if you have a conversation with somebody, that is a contact with somebody. And then if you gather their health information, you get down like their age, their weight, underwriting, all of that, that's an appointment. And you set a time to go through options. That's an appointment. And then if you sit with that appointment, they actually meet with you, they show up, because let's face it, not everyone does, and that's okay. Have the right expectations. That's called a sit. So you have a dial, contact, appointment, and sit. Underwriting, again, we talked about this, and I'll share links to calls at the end, but this is an important piece that we play an important role on because we are collecting all the information that the carriers are going to want to know in order to make a decision. At the end of the day, this is a business decision for the insurance companies, and everything is tracked by our Social Security number. And so the more information that we can get upfront from our clients, our leads, about all of this stuff is going to help us make a better decision on where to go, what product they would get approved for. Every carrier, as you'll learn in the underwriting training, every carrier and every product accepts different types of diagnoses or meds, different background, personal history. So all of these questions are important. And as you become more seasoned, you'll learn like secondary questions or things like you should have maybe asked. I know that when I started, for example, diabetes, I would not ask any other question if someone said that they had diabetes. Now I know as a seasoned agent that if someone says they're diabetes, I want to know type 1 or type 2. I want to know what age were they diagnosed, and different questions like that. So they will become more familiar with you, but there is a sheet that I've created for you to help get this information from your leads as a new agent that will be in the links that I provide in a little bit. This is HQ. Here's the little, so this area on the left with the circle, red circle, this is what drops down when you click on that waffle area that I love to reference. There are a lot of different things in here, and you can get, as Kelly likes to say, very lost. We do not want you to get lost. As a new agent, we want you to focus on the things that are important now, and then utilize time later to kind of explore other things that you want to explore and dive into. What is most important for you as a new agent right now is to get a couple of different trainings and certifications done, as well as learn the basics of how you talk with a lead and the best language to use. So you're going to open the LMS, which is a learning module system. It's where a lot of our trainings are, found. There are two sections in there called Quility Platforms and Lead Basics. So Quility Platforms is going to have two trainings that we want you to focus on, Funnel and Navigator. So Funnel is going to be the CRM system that we use as agents to dial leads. It has a monthly subscription. It's 56 bucks. I think it's super low compared to other CRMs. It is where we dial. It's where we can take notes for clients. It is a phenomenal system, and it's only getting better as we use it, but you have to do the certification training and get that all set up. So that's what you'll want to make sure you tackle. We have Navigator, which is a system that we use to help us quote. You'll learn more about it in the underwriting training, but in order to use that correctly, you need to go through a quick certification. So those are two that we want you to prioritize. And then in Leads Basics, there's where you can learn about different types of leads, different lead structures that we have. There's also a very important section for lead role play. So you can listen to, specific lead types being dialed, being called, and get familiar with scripts that, top producers in the company are using. So those two sections are where we want you to focus. Do not go into there and start diving into IUL and a bunch of other things until you've completed all these other things first. We want you to just stay on track. So Quility Platforms and Lead Basics, Lead Role Plays, those are the two important places to focus. This is the funnel training, and this is the funnel system. So Funnel has a specific Facebook page that you can jump in and ask your hiring agent to add you or to send you the link to that as well. But funnel training is done on Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays. There's different kind of topics being covered, but they are an hour long. They're super helpful. Highly recommend jumping on to those trainings. And then this is just an example of the funnel system. Again, this is where we, all your leads are uploading in here. You can schedule appointments. There's scripting, there's automatic quoting that's going on. It is a really good tool, especially as a new agent. It will make your dialing process and your learning curve that much faster. So I highly recommend, again, the investment in that system and program and learning it, because it's just going to help you go farther faster. And it's a great tool. Promotions. We have a great commission schedule here, and you can get promoted pretty easily by just doing a little bit of work. And you can get promoted based on being a producer, so just being a sales agent, someone who's selling insurance, or being promoted as a builder, someone who's building their own agency. On the left side is the promotion guidelines for a builder, someone who wants to build an agency. And then on the dark blue side is someone who's just working as a sole agent, someone who's doing it all alone. And this explains what the promotion schedule is and what it looks like. So everybody starts at 80% commission. And the way that this works is you can do Slingshot for your first 3 promotions, or you can do standard. It's much more fun to do Slingshot because you go faster. But you can promote by reaching these production levels. So production meaning how much sales you do in 1 month. So the first promotion happens by reaching 2,500, and you slingshot, so you do it faster in 1 month versus 2 by doubling down, so 5,000. So in order to move from 80% to 85% contract level, you're going to do 2,500 in production for 2 months in a row, or you're going to do 5,000 for 1 month. And you'll do 5,000 in 2 months in a row to get to the next at 90%, or you'll do 7,500 in 1 month. And tell your hiring agent what you'd like to run for. If you want to promote with a slingshot and do it, double down in 1 month, make sure they know that, communicate that so that they can help you and support you along that. But we can go all the way up to 130%, which is insane. And you only have to decide, say right now you don't think you have any interest in building. We want you to make that decision within your first couple of contract promotions of whether or not you're going to build or you're going to stay just as a sole agent, because the promotion schedule kind of changes depending on which one you want to be from that point on. So you'll see here, this says declaration of intent occurs at 105. So by 105 contract level, we want you to head and make that decision whether or not you want to build, so that we know how to run your promotions moving forward. But we can make a lot of money here, a lot of commissions, and the promotions are pretty amazing, especially once you get building a team. If you want to build an agency, those agents, everyone's working together to promote, and it just helps things go faster. We are in September, which is crazy. I cannot believe it. But this is an example of what a Symmetry calendar would look like. And Symmetry calendars run Saturday to Friday. So it's just how they keep everything straight. It's how they keep everything on schedule. And we go in weeks. So week 1, week 2, week 3. Currently, we are in week 3 because it is Monday, September 15th. And so Friday, week 3 will end, and then we'll have week 4. And so where this comes into play is when we're doing slingshot promotions, and it'll start to all make sense as you track your business and track calendars. But it matters when it comes to a slingshot promotion. So if slingshot is something that you want to go for, make sure, again, you communicate that with your hiring agent, and we'll walk through the calendar with you about what it means to write business, submit an application in week 1 or week 3. But this is shared on a lot of the SN huddles, this calendar. And so just make sure you pay attention and start to get an idea of what week we are, Symmetry business, when the month ends, when the month begins. Like week 1 for October is going to start on Saturday, September 27th, which seems weird, but that's how Symmetry works. It's just a little bit different. So it will make more sense as you go through different months with us. But right now, week 3 of business, and that will end on Friday. And then we'll start week 4, which is the final week of September. This is Opt, and if you're going to write your first application today or tomorrow, if you haven't done that yet, you're going to submit your application into Opt, so you'll get familiar with this process. But we submit business into Opt the same day we write the application. It is how Symmetry tracks our business and compares it, reconciles it with what the carriers have on their end. So this is a very important step that you do not want to miss. I tell all my agents to do it right after they write an application, because then they won't forget. Every application you write will go in here, with the exception of those that get immediately declined. We have a couple of carriers that will give you instant decisions that we are sure of. Americo, SBLI, LGA, Banner Life is one of them. So if they're getting immediate declines, like either on the screen at the time that your client signs, or sometimes I've gotten to this point where I'm putting in an application in Opt and I get an email that they've been declined. I'm not going to put it in here, but everything else goes in here. And again, you'll get more familiar with what those carriers look like, but just know that every application you write needs to go in here. And if there's something that needs to be edited or corrected for the first couple of ones that you do, the hiring agent will let you know so that you can learn. But you're going to put in the client's name. A lot of that information is going to be put in here, the carrier that you used, what the APV is, and all of that good stuff will be will point you through and guide you through in the writing your first app video. But just don't forget opt entries. Very important. This is Kelly. She likes to share, we just like to share an example of what this could look like in your first year. So I remember when Kelly was new, because I was also new and we both had babies at the relatively same time. I was drowning in new momhood and Kelly was thriving. She was putting in apps every second I turned around and I was just like, what in the heck is she doing over there? She was incredible. She was not only answering underwriting questions, but she was putting in some production. So this is just a total look at her gross income for that month. And so she learned by the end of year one that, hey, I can make some serious money here. And that's kind of when she decided to just go all in and get to the top as fast as she could. So she did it in 130, or she did it in 24 months. She got to the top contract level in 2 years, which is pretty incredible. And so anything is possible here. We all have different things going on in our life and we all have different goals. But if this is something that you want to be a huge financial impact for you or your family, it's absolutely doable here, regardless of what your background is. And I think Kelly is just one of the many great examples of that. To help you do that and to help you reach your full potential, we know how important coaching and accountability is, and we have a couple of different places where you can plug in for those things. But Jim Larson has an incredible call every day at 9 a.m. And that is the information where you can plug into his call and just, he's so good with inspirational words and like getting you fired up for the day. So if that's something that you need or motivation to just do it, then that is a great place to kind of tune in and hold yourself accountable for doing what you're capable of. And then we have CIYC, which Corey is just incredible in leadership. He's one of the only leadership voices I allow to speak into my life, but he does a call every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just rotating topics and talking about things that help you get better as a person, which ultimately flows into your business and into your life. And so these are two really great places for you to plug into if you're looking for growth opportunities. And we focus on growth here because the more you grow, the better you get. Again, make sure you're in these underwriting threads in GroupMe. If you have no idea what these are, ask your hiring agent, but these are the GroupMe threads. These are the Facebook pages where you can be in. It's where you want to be, stay connected, immerse yourself. Again, it's all about immersing yourself into our culture, our community, be plugged in, associate, get to know people, because we are in a virtual world and it's really easy to just be over there in your corner, just doing your own thing. But you get into these pages, into these groups, you'll get support, you'll get resources, and you'll get to know the community that you're working alongside of who celebrate you. So make sure you're in these different threads. And if you don't have links to them, ask your hiring agent for them or for them to add you. This is Ignite. I'm super excited about this. Before this last conference, Ignite was my favorite. But now I'm like, oh, they're both incredible. So we want you to get to Ignite, which is a smaller kind of group gathering that happens in March. We still have tickets. It is in Dallas, Texas. And you guys, it's phenomenal. You're going to get training, association, and you really won't know what you're going to experience until you get in the room. So the only thing I can say, the most important thing is I know it's a commitment. I know it's a cost. I know, work schedules, family schedules. I get it. Been there. But there is something powerful about getting in the room and experiencing the trainings, the stories, the powerful, everything is just, it's so good. So if you can get there, do everything you can to, and message your hiring agent to connect you with where you can get a ticket because we want you to be there. It will change the trajectory of your business for sure. And then just remember, HQ is your bestie. SFG quotes, I will share a bunch of links in just a moment for you to save. It's going to be full of resources and a lot of things that we talked about. But most importantly, we want you to remember that you can do this. It doesn't matter where you came from, what your background is. If you can afford leads right now or not, there are ways that we can make this work for you, and you can do this. If I can do this, you can. You just have to decide that you will. Be really intentional about getting better in every area that you need to. And most importantly, not quitting, because quitting is the easy thing to do. And we don't want you to quit. We want you to dig deep and figure out how you can win here because we know you can. So you've got this. And if you have questions, now would be a great time to ask. You can unmute, you can put it in the chat, and I will put links as I'm watching.